The United Nations officials says the UN mission in South Sudan, the African Union and the Intergovernmental Authority on Development regional bloc are engaging in shuttle diplomacy to prevent the country from relapsing into civil war. Nicholas Haysom, the UN mission representative in the country, said the peace partners met in Juba on Monday to explore ways of convincing parties to end tension. President Salva Kiir and First Vice President Riek Machar are at a stalemate after violence broke out in Nasir town in the Upper Nile state between government troops and an armed group accused of being allied with Machar. To ease the standoff, President Kiir asked Uganda to send its troops to South Sudan to help restore peace. Machar has now written to the UN, the African Union and IGAD saying the presence of Uganda's military threatens a 2018 power-sharing peace deal which mandates the withdrawal of foreign troops. The peace deal ended 5 years of civil war in the world's youngest nation. Meanwhile, South Sudan's President Salva Kiir insists he will not lead the country back to war, despite recent clashes in the north and the rest of the several opposition politicians in the capital, Juba. The UN says it's concerned that the East African country is on the brink of a relapse into civil war. CGTN's Patrick Oyet reports.
The current disagreement between President Salva Kiir and Vice President Riek Machar is the biggest test yet for the country's 2018 peace deal. Some opposition politicians from Riek Machar's party remain in custody. The government Air Force has carried out several air raids in Nasir following the overrunning of a garrison for government troops in the area by the White Army. The White Army are armed civilians who fought for Riek Machar between 2013 and 2018. South Sudan's government has brought in Uganda People's Defense Force, or UPDF, to help.
The UPDF that arrive here in Juba are support units and technical units. Support units and technical units, they have come to support their brothers and sisters in the SSPDF.
The South Sudan People's Defense Force, or SSPDF, largely remain forces loyal to President Salva Kiir. Many South Sudanese residents say they are concerned and they compare the situation with the peace deal in 2015, which didn't end the war in the country. When opposition groups returned to Juba, it sparked another cycle of violence when clashes broke out in the presidential palace in July 2016.
Let there be peace so that people go back to their places of origin and live in harmony. This is the demand of every citizen now.
We South Sudanese, what we need peace and food. These are the two things that we are need for. There is nothing like aside, like what we had, what we've seen. We just need peace and food.
The East African regional body, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, or IGAD, says sustainable peace can still be achieved in the country.
We have also to do something in order to reach the goals we have set. And IGAD is keen and is ready really to move in that sense, and to engage the South Sudanese also to stand with IGAD for peace.
South Sudan civil war, which ended in 2018, killed more than 400,000 people. The war also forced more than 2.5 million South Sudanese nationals to become refugees in neighboring countries. Patrick Oyet, CGTN, Juba, South Sudan.
The unrest in South Sudan stems from political disputes between President Salva Kiir and First Vice President Riek Machar. They've been involved in a fragile power-sharing government since 2018. CGTN's Ian Exikolia explains.
The world's youngest nation, South Sudan, once again finds itself on the edge of conflict. A hard-fought and fragile peace agreement over 6 years ago is unraveling amid political infighting, armed clashes, and rising insecurity. At the center of the friction, the two old rivals, Kiir and Machar. The 2018 pact ended a brutal 5-year civil war that claimed nearly 400,000 lives. The deal was meant to usher in stability, but key provisions such as a unified army and an agreed constitution have yet to be implemented. In February 2025, Kiir dismissed several senior government officials, which Machar viewed as a violation of the peace deal, sparking protest and violence in regions such as western Bahr el Ghazal. Subsequently, 2 ministers and the deputy army chief aligned with Machar were arrested. As political tensions grew, violence erupted in some areas like Nasir town in Upper Nile, following Kiir's order for the redeployment of forces in the area. Armed militias, including the White Army, clashed with government forces. A UN helicopter attempting to rescue soldiers was attacked, leaving a UN crew member and a South Sudanese general dead. The attack on the aircraft is a stark reminder of South Sudan's volatility. The U.S. Embassy in South Sudan has since ordered the departure of non-emergency government employees from the country. The crisis has drawn regional intervention, with the Intergovernmental Authority on Development (IGAD) convening a summit to discuss the latest developments. Uganda, a key IGAD member and a Kiir ally, deployed special forces to Juba. In a post on the X platform, Ugandan Army Chief Muhoozi Kainerugaba warned, "We, the Ugandan military, UPDF, only recognize one president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir. Any move against him is a declaration of war against Uganda." Some say Uganda's intervention may complicate the situation. While it may stabilize Juba, it could also escalate tensions with opposition forces. Meanwhile, South Sudan is facing a deepening humanitarian crisis. The UN Commission on Human Rights says over 2 million people are internally displaced and 2.28 million have sought refuge in neighboring countries. It further states that more than half the population is facing acute food insecurity. The global body reiterated that without meaningful political dialogue and trust building, the country risks slipping back into full-scale conflict. Enoch Sikolia, CGTN.